Good day to everybody out there. So, we back here at the land and just wanted to come by here and check on it. I'm here for a few days. I had to come down here and get some paperwork, which happened to not be here. And I wanted to stop by the land to see what has changed, if how much growth has occurred in regards to me not cutting the grass and none of that. Because as we can see, it's all jungle, but in the entrance, it's really it was kind of cleared out a little bit in the entrance, so it wasn't much of any grass. Got my little shirt here to keep these bugs, because we are out here in nature, and these mosquitoes can be treacherous. But essentially, the land is here, man. It's beautiful. I wanted to come out here and show y'all and let y'all know, man, this is all attainable. All of this. This is 10 plus acres out here. It already got 13 mango trees, three coconut palms right here in the beginning, and we got some plantains, some baby bananas, some plums, as well as several other trees out here, man. And I'm just excited. I'm excited about this whole endeavor and this whole process. But when I come in, we're gonna come in and we're gonna veer to the left, because as you can see, the coconut palms is right there. And we don't want to tear down the coconut palms because they're already producing. And if we tear them down, and we got 3 of them, as you can see, they right there. But I don't want to get rid of them. I want to keep those. So we're gonna come in, we're gonna make a left and veer in. I would take y'all in. I just don't want to be stepping on something that I ain't supposed to be stepping on that might have some, you know what I'm saying? Hold on, let me check. Actually, I might be able to walk us through a little bit. I don't really. Yeah, let me do that. So, as you can see, this is the entrance here. And, as you come in right here, you got the coconut palms right here in the beginning. And we're gonna make that left right there. Make that left around that coconut palm. I think that's a coconut. That's a coconut tree right there. This one right here. That's a coconut tree. Actually, where we at with it? Right there. That's a coconut. So we want to go around it and make a left. And when we make that left, we want to have a driveway that snakes around. Snake that thing around and go back about 50 to 100 feet. We're gonna go back about 50 to 100 feet and put the house back a little bit off the road. We don't want to be right up on the road so people can see everything. We want to go back a little bit. And I like this up in the front here. I'll probably have definitely gonna have a fence that borders the whole perimeter. And then all the way around the side, which is where the borderline is. So I'm gonna have a fence that goes around, and we're gonna start planting small. We're gonna start small. In the front, we're gonna start small, and then we'll go out through the back. And initially, me and my brother, we're gonna create a path that leads to the creek, and then we're gonna also create a path that leads to the 13 mango trees on this side, because the 13 mango trees is on this side, towards the center of the 10 acres. So probably about 3 to 4, maybe 4 or 5 acres back. You see that it's about 13 mango trees that I'm excited because they're already producing. And if you look it up, mango trees produce about 200 plus mangoes a year per tree. There's no way I can eat all of that. So we're gonna be giving some of it away, bartering some of it, as well as, keeping for ourselves, because I love mangoes. Love mango smoothies, mango juice. I love all of that. So, that's essentially what we're gonna do. And we got breadfruit on the land. I never had breadfruit, but I'm gonna use that as a bargaining tactic and bartering with other individuals in the area, because the agent told me that them things go for $10 a pop. So give some away. I'm not here to be trying to be greedy. We want to give away, use some of it for labor, so I can get people to come in and help me and work. So on and so forth, man. We got star fruit, plums, the plantains, wild bananas. Just gonna kind of take it to the next level with it. Some avocado trees, and plant some papaya, and you know, just be excited about all this whole endeavor. But this is all attainable for everybody. We don't have to stay in the States. We don't have to stay in the States and try to purchase that expensive land and pay those high-ass property taxes, because it's very expensive in the States. They make it almost unattainable for people. People come in with the American dream from other countries, but the ones that live there, it seems like we be having it the hardest sometimes, because it be all types of incentives for people that's coming from other nations to come in and grab up land. And, you know, we can come and get land in other countries and pay cheap and actually grow all year round. Because up there, when it's winter time like it is now, January 27th, 28th, there's nothing that you can grow in most of those climates. Anything from South Florida, anything from Florida on down, you good most of the time. But shit, we just seen snow up there in North Florida this past week. So that's not even safe all the time. But at the end of the day, if you want to come and get you some land, you don't got to buy a whole 10 acres. You can go get you a few acres. You can go get you a quarter acre and pay a lot less than what I did. But you know, this is where it's at. And I just want y'all to see that we could touch this. This is nothing. I mean, it's something, but you know, me buying this amount of acres in the States, I would have never been able to afford it cash. Like, you know, I don't really like to deal with mortgages unless I'm extending them out. But, you know, this all came to my mind back in about 2020 when I was really, really interested when the pandemic came. I was like, you know what? It's time for me to go ahead and get some land. So I started to look in Florida. I think it was like the middle, like maybe August 2020. I was like, you know what, it's time to get some land. So I started to look on this land website around the nation, and Florida was one of the main ones because, of course, I want to grow coconuts. If I can't grow coconuts, I don't really care it's not really that enticing to me. So, and the mountains is back there. You can see the mountains that kind of produce the water that comes through my creek right here, because it's a creek that borders my land right here. But I said, if I can't do coconuts, I don't really want to be there. So I started to look in Florida, South Florida, you know, north of Dade County, north of Broward, and came across some land that really didn't have no electricity near it. And at the time, I didn't have any concept of the off-grid living and how to set that up. And, you know, I kind of said, you know what, because I found 2 acres for like $17,000. And 2 acres, honestly, would have been solid enough for me. I'd have been good. 17,000, 18 grand, and I could have set it up that way. But, you know, I wasn't familiar with the off-grid concept, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and let it go, because I called the electrical company, and in order for them to get the electrical set up down that way, it was about 70 grand for them to bring the electric from where it was nearest to where that particular piece of land was. And I was like, I'm not trying to pay 70,000 just to get electricity over here. And I didn't understand, like I said, the off-grid concept with the solar. So that didn't even cross my mind. And then started watching a few videos online, came across a lady named Delilah Fitness. And shout out to Delilah. She was over here in Belize. And she was, you know, showing her food that she was growing. I'm like, man, this is incredible. From Brooklyn. And, you know, her and her sister had set up shop down here. And that inspired me. I was like, shit, I got to get down to Belize. I didn't know what the land prices was at the time. But then when I started to see her, she wasn't talking about land prices or nothing, but just the whole concept of her growing her cucumbers and, you know, had coconuts right there she can grab. I was like, man, this is the life. She was into the fitness thing. And then my mind just opened up. I started looking in Belize. And I found properties that were attainable for cash, acreage. And that's when I said, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm going to go down here and check it out. Came down here. Oh, no. Let's back up. The brother Passport Heavy, he put a video out. He was down in Belize. And when he put a video out, he made this shit look, you know, he make all his videos look glamorous. And I ain't really attracted to the glamour in that capacity, but it made it seem like Belize is a hot spot. And when I seen that video, I really, really, really said, man, I'm getting ready to get down here. And then I was at a restaurant up north, and I ran across these ladies who was into the planting foods and everything and having land. And I was like, I'm ready to go down to Belize. I want to buy some land in Belize. And she was like, oh, my sister Zinga, she down there in Belize. I'm going to put you in contact with her. who happened to be from up in that specific area. So I didn't contact her right away. And then when I got back to Los Angeles, I reached out to her and we talked for about 45 minutes. And I asked her what was the worst thing about Belize in her mind. And what she told me, I was like, oh shit, that ain't enough to keep me away. And I was out. I said, look, I'll be down there by November. Sure enough, I was down there by November. I said I would be there before Thanksgiving. And I made it right after Thanksgiving. Right after November, right after Thanksgiving, like that last week of November. I made it down here, came to see 23 acres that I was interested in. And, you know, down here is different. Down here, you got to pay the lawyers up front. And then they'll work their way back. And whatever you don't use, they'll send back to you. In the States, you don't pay lawyers up front. They take their money at the closing. It's done like that. Down here, you got to pay up front, which is usually about $2,971. I think that's what it was for one of the companies. And you know, you work your way back. So came down here to see that 23 acres. That 23 acres, you couldn't even get to it. Right now, I'm on the main road. This is the road right here. As you can see, all these cars. But that wasn't, I couldn't even get to the land. So I was like, man, I can't get, for me to get to the land, it was a hassle. And then when I got to the road to get to the land, that wasn't even carved out yet. And if it was like, it was the rainy season. It was just the end of the rainy season, so it was real muddy. So I didn't have a 4-wheel drive car. And I was like, man, I'm not going back there. So I wasn't even able to see it. I was like, I'm not going to get it. And it was a great price for the 23 acres, and rightfully so, because you couldn't even get to it. And so I left a little disappointed from that property, and I started to look immediately while I was already down here. While I was down here, I went and seen another 5 acres. And I think they wanted like 35 for that one. And then once I got down there, I saw that I walked it. And then I drove down the road to a few different spots just to get some perspective on it. And one of the guys was like, you don't want to buy that. You know, that soil is sandy, so on and so forth. It's going to be difficult to grow the mangoes and the coconuts that you want to grow. And that deterred me from buying it as well, buying that one as well. So I didn't put that one under contract. And then several months had went by. Oh, no. Like a couple weeks went by, I found like 8 acres down in South Belize. And I put that under contract. And, you know, the seller was old. So he was very, very slow and, you know, executing the contract and so on and so forth. And we had a time coming to an agreement as far as price. So once we came to an agreement, I did my due diligence. I think I had the 8 acres for under contract for like $35,000. And, you know, he was traveling at the time. So as I'm doing my due diligence, this is a hilly, that one was a hilly parcel. So it had hill, kind of looked like a Mayan ruin almost. And once I got the soil test done, and if you're going to do a property like this, you got to make, especially if you plan on farming and doing some like fruit forest type things, you want to get you a soil test. I also had a survey done. I always get my property surveyed. Well, not always, definitely something like this, I had to get surveyed because I want to know what's mine and what isn't. And so I got the resurvey done. The resurvey came back. They told me that the and that video was on the channel as well. But they told me that the all-weather road that was bordering the property was mine. Come to find out, that was the next door neighbor's property. So that wasn't even mine that came out in the survey. Which you got it in that survey. And this shit ain't cheap. So this is the education and the knowledge that you got to do and the experience that you got to go through just to get to where you got to get. So it's not always peaches and cream. So boom, survey came back with an all-weather road wasn't mine. Cool, I could have dealt with that. So I said, listen. So then the soil test come back. I can't do nothing on the hill because the hill is mostly stones and rocks. So the hill is mostly stones and rocks. I can't do no planting on the hill because, you know, it's difficult. So then you can only do, so let's back up. I'm going to say 3.33 acres was hill, rocks and stones. Another 3 acres of it was foothills. And with the foothills is the bottom of the hill, which meant that when it's rainy season, it causes a lot of erosion. So I would have had to dig out. A path so the water would have somewhere to flow at the bottom of the hill, so it wouldn't create like a erosion and just a bunch of water runoff. It was just crazy. I can't really explain it because I didn't understand it, but basically what it came back was the soil test guy. He said, "Yo, based on the software is telling me that you can ask for a lower price." So only out of that 8 acres, only 1.16 acres of it, and I'm still missing a few parcels of the acre that they said something else, but 1.16 acres of that 8 acres was able to be cultivated right now, which honestly would have been okay. I didn't need to rock out with the whole 8 right away. It was almost 9, to be honest with you. But when I went back at the seller and said, "Listen, let's bring this down to 20 grand, 35,000, I'm already under contract with you, let's bring it down to 20 grand. He was like, "Nah." So I was like, "All right, I'm out of this." Got out of that one. I said, "You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and try something else." So the realtor that I was dealing with, the realtor has this one realtor named Jimmy. He had sent me some property, and that didn't have a real clear location to it either. Not location, but a real clear path and road to it. So I was just like a little skeptical about it. But it was 15 acres. It had a creek. This mosquito's fucking me up. It had a creek that but that's okay. We outside. We in nature. This is their home. I'm visiting. I'm in their home and I'm visiting. But so it was 15 acres. It had a creek that bordered it. I was a little like, I didn't move forward on that one. So when that 8 acres was getting ready to fall out of contract, Jimmy hit me back. He was like, "Yo, I got something for you," and I liked it. I think that was another 15. And I said, "Listen, Jimmy, if I can get it for 35, maybe 40, I think it was 40, I'm good." He was able to get the seller to agree with me. The seller agreed and then ended up dying before he signed the contract. So that meant that the property had to go through probate because I don't think they had a will and I don't think they had a trust.